to be checking out some original Polaroid film expired in 2009. As some of you may know, Polaroid, while still being around today, is actually a very different company to what it was back in the 80s and 90s. Polaroid, the original company, closed in 2008. This film, being expired in 2009, is perhaps the very last Polaroid film we can see from this original company. We have 2 packs of this original film, and I'm going to be shooting them in my Polaroid Sun 670. Here's our original film pack. No motivational quotes like you would see with Impossible or the new Polaroids film. That sounds like a healthy battery to me, so we'll see what happens with the first photo. When I'm shooting this, I'm going to be keeping in mind that most of the top half of the photo isn't going to be exposed because of the way that the chemicals are going to spread, if we get anything at all. So I'm just going to be trying to frame upwards, if you know what I mean. And there's our first photo. As you can see, there's actually quite a good chemical spread, so we'll see what kind of results we can get from this, if it develops. So as you can see, the chemical spread on this photo was actually really good. So I'm going to walk around and we'll just shoot the rest of this pack and see what the rest of the photos turn out like. So it did appear we had a couple photos left, but it's ejected them both at the same time, so we can assume that this pack's pretty much over. You can also see that some of these frames are leaking from the bottom of the photo. You don't want to be touching that. So that concludes the first pack of film we had. We got 5 photos that developed and 5 that didn't, which is honestly a really good result. Now we're going to load the second pack of film and see if we can be more successful or perhaps not as lucky. Once again, that's a pretty healthy sounding battery, so I'm hopeful for this pack as well. that should be our last photo. Not bad. These two that ejected together, as you saw, not the best. So, what are my final thoughts on this expired Polaroid film from 2009? Well, for starters, I don't think I'm going to be jumping ship to shoot this anytime soon. While the results are interesting, it's such a gamble, and we were lucky to see anything today. Look how many useless frames I was left with out of a 2-pack of film. I can see someone creative perhaps painting over these or doing something with them, but for the most part, they're pretty much a waste. Another factor to consider is price. Now, I purchased this pack on eBay for $28 Australian, which is about $2 US and $100 Canadian. While that may seem expensive, we have to consider that in Australia, a standard pack of 600 film will run you about $42. That being if you can find it at all. While that may seem expensive, we've got to consider also that a 600 pack, a new one, will give you consistently good results. You're not going to see a single frame on the pack, hopefully, that will turn out like this. And overall, I think you'll just be a lot happier with the results you get from a new pack, as opposed to gambling it on one of these old packs. So, what are my recommendations for shooting expired film in general? I think if you want to shoot Polaroid film specifically, you should aim for something that's around 3 to 4 years expired. Anything more than that, you're going for a massive gamble. Another thing is cold storage. This pack wasn't cold stored, but if you happen to notice, like in the seller's description on eBay, they'll say, this film was cold stored in the freezer or the fridge, you will have way better chance of getting anything from these packs because it just stops the film from degrading as quickly. If you're really intent on shooting any kind of expired film, if you find any for cheap or you have some lying around, consider doing 35mm or 120 film. 35mm and 120 film don't have any chemicals to dry out, they don't have anything that expires. Really, it's just the film strip losing its sensitivity to light. You can get way better results for way cheaper with 35 and 120mm if that's what you're into. When we talk about film in terms of food, we would have to say 35mm is equivalent to something like rice, where Polaroid would be a fine cottage cheese. Now, when we talk about 11 years into the future, past the expiry date, what would you rather eat? Especially in the case of this, where it hasn't been kept cold stored for 11 years. I know what I would rather eat. Thanks for watching. I don't know if I should make it apparent, but I'm not a photographer. I'm really amateur. I just enjoy shooting film as a medium. And if you could leave any tips to improve the video or anything you liked about the video, I would really appreciate it. Thank you for watching.